The massive viewing window aboard Orbital Station Delta offered an unparalleled view of humanity's greatest achievement. Captain Sarah Chen stood motionless, her dark eyes fixed on the sleek form of the UES Hyperion as it floated in the construction dock. The ship's obsidian hull seemed to drink in the starlight, its surface rippling with subtle patterns of deep purple and midnight blue, a visual side effect of the phase shift lattice integrated into its structure. "Final systems check is complete, Captain," Commander David Walsh reported, joining her at the window. "The quantum displacement core is performing exactly as designed." Sarah nodded, not taking her eyes off the ship. 3 years of her life had gone into this project, watching the Hyperion grow from theoretical physics to physical reality. At just over 2 kilometers in length, it wasn't the largest ship humanity had built, but it was by far the most advanced. The phase shift technology at its heart represented a fundamental breakthrough in humanity's understanding of space-time manipulation. "What's the latest from Dr. Rodriguez?" she asked, finally turning to face her XO. Walsh's weathered face broke into a slight smile. "She says the core's quantum signature is stable. We're ready for the first full power test whenever you give the word." Sarah allowed herself a small smile in return. Dr. Isabella Rodriguez was brilliant but cautious. If she said the ship was ready, it was ready. "Signal the crew to begin boarding procedures. I want everyone at their stations in 2 hours." As Walsh moved to carry out her orders, Sarah's attention was drawn to a notification on her neural link. The quantum sensors at the edge of the solar system had detected another anomaly, the third this week. Brief fluctuations in spacetime that didn't match any known natural phenomenon. She bet her captain's bars that someone was out there watching, trying to make sense of what humanity had created. Let them watch, she thought. They're about to see something unprecedented. 2 hours later, Sarah sat in the Hyperion's command chair, surrounded by the quiet efficiency of her bridge crew. The ship's internal systems hummed with potential energy, the quantum core waiting to be unleashed. "All stations report ready," Walsh announced from his position at Ops. "Engineering stands by for core activation." Sarah took a deep breath. This was the moment everything had been building toward. "Begin power-up sequence. Take us out nice and easy." The deck plates vibrated subtly as the quantum displacement core came online. On the main view screen, status indicators shifted from amber to green as each system synchronized with the core's quantum field. "Phase shift lattice is energizing," Lieutenant Park reported from the engineering station. "Field coherence at 98% and holding steady." Outside the ship, space itself seemed to shimmer as the Hyperion's revolutionary drive system began to affect the fabric of reality. The phase shift technology didn't just move through space. It altered the fundamental properties of space-time around the vessel, allowing it to exist partially out of phase with normal reality. "Core at full power," Park announced. "Ready for displacement test." Sarah leaned forward in her chair. "Set coordinates for Jupiter's L5 point. Let's show the universe what humanity can do." The Hyperion's response was immediate and breathtaking. There was no sensation of movement, no acceleration, just a momentary ripple through reality itself. One instant they were in Earth orbit, the next they were 778 million kilometers away, floating serenely in space near Jupiter. "Displacement successful," Walsh reported, his professional tone barely concealing his excitement. "All systems nominal. We're exactly where we planned to be." Sarah allowed herself a moment of pure satisfaction. Humanity had just changed the rules of space travel forever. No more long journeys between planets. No more being bound by the speed of light. The phase shift drive opened up possibilities that were previously relegated to science fiction. Her satisfaction was interrupted by an urgent report from sensors. "Captain, multiple quantum signatures detected at the edge of scanner range," Lieutenant Santos announced. They appear to be ships, ma'am. Unlike anything we've ever seen." Sarah's expression remained calm, but her pulse quickened. Their test flight had apparently drawn an audience. "Show me." The main screen shifted to show several crystalline structures, almost invisible against the backdrop of space. They seemed to bend light around them in impossible ways, suggesting technology at least as advanced as their own. They're making no attempt to hide themselves anymore. Santos noted. I think they want us to see them. Sarah straightened in her chair. First contact was about to happen years ahead of schedule, triggered by humanity's leap forward in technology. But as she studied the alien vessels on the screen, she felt no fear, only curiosity and anticipation. Open a channel, she ordered. Let's introduce ourselves to the neighborhood. The Hyperion hung in space, its phase-shift lattice creating subtle distortions in the fabric of reality, as humanity prepared to take its first steps onto the galactic stage. The Watchers from the stars were about to discover that humanity's greatest strength wasn't just their technology. It was their unrelenting drive to push beyond what others thought possible. Orbital Commander Angstl stood perfectly still in the observation chamber of the Celestial Seeker, all four of his crystalline appendages locked in the formal position of deep contemplation. The holographic display before him showed the human vessel Hyperion as it effortlessly phased through spacetime, performing maneuvers that should have been impossible for such a young species. Run the analysis again, he commanded, his voice resonating through the chamber's crystalline walls. There must be some explanation for this technological leap. Science Director Valsha moved forward, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with barely contained excitement. Commander, we've analyzed their quantum signature 15 times. The humans developed this technology independently. There's no trace of outside influence, no sign of borrowed research. They simply figured it out. Angsthl's outer shell rippled with disbelief. In the 10,000 cycles since the Concordat had begun observing Earth, humans had gone from primitive combustion engines to quantum phase-shift technology. It defied every model of civilizational development the Concordat had established. Show me their power signature again, he requested, trying to understand. The hologram shifted, displaying complex patterns of energy that flowed through the human vessel's lattice-like structure. They're not just manipulating spacetime, Valsha explained, her patterns glowing brighter with academic enthusiasm. They're completely redefining its local properties. It's an approach that never occurred to our scientists. We focused on working within the universe's laws. They decided to rewrite them. The chamber's other occupants, all senior members of the observation fleet, shifted uncomfortably. For millennia, the Concordat had guided younger species, carefully introducing them to advanced technologies according to established protocols. Humanity had just shattered that paradigm. New activity detected, the sensor operator announced. The human vessel is initiating another phase shift. They watched as the Hyperion seemed to ripple, its hull taking on an almost liquid appearance before it simply ceased to be in one location and appeared in another, halfway across the solar system. Impossible, someone whispered. The power requirements alone should be beyond their capabilities. Valsha finished. Perhaps it's time we reconsidered what humans are capable of. Their approach to quantum mechanics is innovative. They're not bound by our preconceptions of what's possible. Angsthl's crystalline form vibrated with decision. They know we're here, he stated. Their sensors have detected us, yet they continue their tests. They're not showing fear or aggression. They're showing us what they can do. The Concordat protocols are clear, his second-in-command reminded him. When a species develops beyond their expected progression curve, we're to observe and report, not engage. The protocols, Angsthl responded, were not written with humans in mind. He moved closer to the hologram, studying the elegant design of the Earth ship. They've achieved in decades what took other species centuries, even with guidance. This isn't just about technology, it's about their way of thinking. A new alert drew their attention. The Hyperion had changed course, now moving deliberately in their direction. Not aggressively, but with clear purpose. They're initiating contact, Valsha observed, her pattern swirling with excitement. Standard protocols would have us retreat, Maintain the illusion of their solitude until the proper time. There is nothing standard about this situation, HFY decided. They've earned the right to join the galactic community on their own terms. He straightened to his full height, his crystalline form catching the light of distant stars. Prepare for first contact procedures. Let's meet these humans who dare to rewrite the rules of reality itself. The observation chamber filled with a mix of anticipation and apprehension as the crew prepared for humanity's official entrance onto the galactic stage. Through the viewport, they could see the Hyperion approaching, its phase shift lattice creating beautiful distortions in the fabric of spacetime. "Commander," Valsha said quietly, "this will change everything. The other species in the Concordat, they may not be ready for humans who can develop such technology independently. Then they will need to adapt," HFY responded, watching the approaching vessel with all 4 of his sensor clusters. "Because I suspect humanity is only beginning to show us what they're capable of." As the distance between the ships decreased, HFY felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries of exploration: genuine uncertainty about what would happen next. Humans had already proven they didn't follow the expected paths of development. What other surprises did they have in store for the galaxy? The answer, he suspected, would reshape the Concordat's understanding of not just technology, but of potential itself. The age of carefully guided development was over. Humanity had kicked down the door to the galactic community, and nothing would ever be quite the same again. The warning klaxons aboard the Hyperion shattered the tense atmosphere of first contact preparations. Lieutenant Santos's voice cut through the noise with urgent clarity. "Captain, massive gravitational disturbance detected in the Proxima Centauri system. The colony's automated distress beacons are active." Sarah Chen's attention instantly shifted from the alien vessels to the emergency at hand. "Show me." The main screen filled with data streams showing a nightmare scenario. Proxima Centauri's stellar core had become unstable, producing gravitational waves that threatened to tear apart the human colony on Proxima b. Over 50,000 colonists faced imminent destruction. "How long?" she demanded. "At current progression, the colony has less than 2 hours before total structural failure," Santos reported grimly. Sarah's mind raced through options. Conventional evacuation would take days they didn't have. The colony's shields wouldn't hold against the gravitational forces much longer. But maybe, just maybe, the Hyperion's phase shift technology offered a solution no one had considered before. "Commander Walsh, contact the alien vessels. Let them know we have to postpone first contact. We have an emergency situation." She turned to her engineering station. "Dr. Rodriguez, I need options. Can we use the phase shift lattice to create a gravitational buffer?" Rodriguez's fingers flew across her console. "The math. It's possible, Captain. If we extend our quantum field around the colony, we might be able to shield them from the worst of it. But we'd have to maintain position less than 10 kilometers from the surface. At that range, if anything goes wrong, we'll be torn apart with them." Sarah finished. "Plot the course. We're not losing that colony." The bridge crew moved with practiced efficiency, but Sarah noticed the alien vessels on their sensors maintaining position, watching. "Let them see what humanity does when lives are at stake," she thought. The Hyperion's phase shift drive engaged, crossing 4 light-years in moments. They emerged into chaos. Proxima Centauri blazed an angry red, its surface writhing with massive solar flares. The gravitational waves were visible to the naked eye, distorting space itself as they hammered the colony. "Colony shields at 23% and failing," Santos reported. "Their outer habitation domes are beginning to crack." "Take us in. Initiate full quantum field extension." Sarah's orders were calm despite the stakes. "Divert all power to the phase shift lattice." The Hyperion descended through the tortured atmosphere of Proxima b, its hull gleaming with energy as the phase shift technology began to affect a larger area of space. Warning indicators screamed as the gravitational forces threatened to overwhelm them. "Quantum field stable but strain is critical," Rodriguez announced. The core is operating beyond safety parameters. Through the view screen, Sarah could see the colony below, a sprawling complex of interconnected domes, now surrounded by the shimmering effect of the Hyperion's extended quantum field. The ship shuddered violently as another gravitational wave struck. Hull stress approaching critical limits, Walsh warned. We can't take much more of this. We don't need much more, Sarah responded. Look. The colony's own shields were regenerating, protected by the Hyperion's quantum bubble. The phase shift technology wasn't just deflecting the gravitational waves, it was partially phasing the entire colony out of normal spacetime, letting the worst of the forces pass through them harmlessly. Message from the colony, Santos reported, relief evident in his voice. Their structural integrity is stabilizing. They're going to make it. For 6 more hours, the Hyperion maintained its position, shielding the colony as Proxima Centauri's disturbance gradually subsided. The ship's quantum core ran hot enough to melt conventional materials, but the phase shift lattice held. When they finally lifted away from the colony, the Hyperion's hull bore scars from its ordeal, but every colonist was alive. And their alien observers had witnessed something unprecedented. A ship using technology that defied conventional physics to save lives against impossible odds. Captain, Santos called out, we're receiving a transmission from the alien fleet. Text only, translated through our linguistics database. On the main screen, a simple message appeared. We have observed many species reach for the stars, but rarely have we seen one reach back to protect them with such determination. Perhaps there is much we can learn from each other. Sarah smiled tiredly, looking at her exhausted but proud crew. Send a response. That's what humans do. We rewrite the rules when the rules say our people can't be saved. Now, about that first contact. The Hyperion hung in space above the saved colony, its quantum field slowly powering down, while across the gulf between stars, 2 civilizations began to understand that the future might hold more wonders than either had imagined alone. The grand chamber of the Concordat diplomatic station hummed with tense energy as representatives from a dozen alien species gathered to witness humanity's formal introduction to galactic society. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the center of the chamber, the scars on the Hyperion's hull still visible through the vast observation windows behind her. Orbital Commander Angsthel's crystalline form caught the light as he addressed the assembly. The humans have demonstrated not just technological achievement, but its purposeful application. Their rescue of the Proxima colony demonstrates principles that challenge our fundamental assumptions. A representative from the Vex Collective, their biomechanical form pulsing with skepticism, moved forward. They achieved quantum phase shift technology without guidance, without following the established progression of scientific development. This defies all known models of civilizational advancement. Perhaps, Sarah responded, her voice carrying across the chamber. That's because your models assume there's only one path to understanding the universe. She gestured to a holographic display showing the Hyperion's quantum field in action. We didn't develop this technology by following a predetermined path. We developed it by asking questions no one else thought to ask. Dr. Rodriguez, standing beside her captain, activated a series of technical displays. Your civilizations approached quantum mechanics as a set of unchangeable laws. We approached it as a conversation with reality itself. The phase shift lattice doesn't just work within quantum rules, it actively negotiates with them. The chamber erupted in multilingual discussions, translation devices struggling to keep up with the technical and philosophical implications. Valsha moved closer to the human delegation, her bioluminescent patterns showing intense curiosity. But how did you conceive of such an approach? She asked. Our records show your species still arguing about the nature of quantum mechanics less than a century ago. Sarah smiled. We were arguing about it precisely because we refused to accept any single interpretation as absolute truth. Every human breakthrough in history came from someone asking why not. When everyone else accepted, that's impossible. The Vex representative's indicators flashed with concern. Such thinking is dangerous. The established protocols for technological development exist to prevent catastrophic mistakes. With respect, Sarah countered, those protocols almost cost us 50,000 lives at Proxima. If we had developed our technology according to your established sequence, we wouldn't have had the means to save them. Exifel raised an appendage for attention. Perhaps this is precisely why the humans have something unique to offer our community. They see possibilities where we see limitations. They find paths where we see walls. A path to chaos, another representative muttered. A path to growth, Sarah corrected. She moved to the center of the chamber, her voice strengthening. Humanity doesn't want to disrupt your civilization. We want to contribute to it. Yes, we think differently. Yes, we solve problems in unexpected ways. But isn't that exactly what's needed when facing challenges no one has solved before? She gestured to the technical displays. We're willing to share our phase shift technology, to work with your scientists to understand it better. But in return, we ask to be accepted as we are, not as what your protocols say we should be. A long moment of silence filled the chamber as the implications sank in. Finally, Valsh's patterns blazed with sudden insight. The humans are right. Our protocols were designed to prevent catastrophic mistakes, but they may also be preventing catastrophic breakthroughs. Look what they achieve by thinking beyond our constraints. Angstful moved to stand beside the human delegation, a powerful symbolic gesture. I propose a new approach. Instead of requiring humans to conform to our established patterns of development, we establish a joint research initiative. Let us learn from their innovative thinking while offering our experience in return. The chamber buzzed with discussion again, but this time the tone was different. The initial fear of humanity's unconventional development was being replaced by curiosity about what might be possible by combining their different approaches. Sarah watched the changing reactions with careful optimism. It won't always be easy, she said quietly to Angstful. Our ways of thinking are very different. Good, the alien commander replied, his crystalline form shimmering with what she was learning to recognize as amusement. The universe is too vast and too complex for any one way of thinking to be sufficient. Perhaps that is what we needed all along, a species brave enough to show us a different way to reach for the stars. Outside the chamber, the Hyperion floated in space alongside vessels from a dozen alien civilizations, its quantum field creating subtle distortions that seemed to reach out and touch the fabric of reality itself, a visible symbol of humanity's gift for finding new ways to achieve the impossible. The emergency alert echoed simultaneously through the Hyperion and the alien vessels of the Joint Research Fleet. A quantum singularity, previously dormant at the edge of explored space, had suddenly become active, threatening to tear a hole in the fabric of reality itself. Multiple space-time fractures detected, Santos reported from his station on the Hyperion's bridge. The singularity's expansion rate is beyond anything in our records. Sarah Chen studied the sensor data alongside Angstful, who had transferred to the Hyperion for the joint mission. The alien commander's crystalline form pulsed with concern as he analyzed the readings. Our traditional containment methods would be insufficient, he stated. The energy levels are too high, the distortions too severe. Then we try something that isn't traditional, Sarah responded. She turned to Dr. Rodriguez and Valsha, who had been working together to combine human and alien quantum theories. What if we used both technologies, your containment fields and our phase shift lattice? Valsha's pattern swirled with rapid calculations. The theoretical interactions would be unpredictable. No one has ever attempted to combine these technologies. Exactly, Rodriguez said, excitement building in her voice. Your containment fields work by establishing stable quantum boundaries. Our phase shift technology actively manipulates those boundaries. If we coordinate them properly, we could create a cascading effect. Valsha finished, her patterns now pulsing in sync with Rodriguez's holographic displays. Using your phase shift technology to amplify our containment fields exponentially. The singularity pulsed ominously on their screens, space-time fractures spreading like cracks in glass. They had minutes, at most, to act. All ships form a containment pattern, Sarah ordered. Concordat vessels, establish your quantum boundaries. Hyperion will synchronize our phase shift field to your frequencies. The fleet moved with precision, alien ships arranging themselves in a complex geometric pattern around the singularity, while the Hyperion took position at the formation's heart. Energy beams lanced out from the alien vessels, establishing the traditional containment field. Phase shift lattice at full power, Rodriguez reported, beginning synchronization with alien quantum frequencies. The view through the Hyperion's windows became surreal as two fundamentally different approaches to quantum manipulation began to interact. The alien containment field, normally invisible, took on a crystalline appearance as it intersected with the Hyperion's phase shift effect. Containment field strength increasing, Valsha announced, her patterns flickering with intensity. The combination is working, but the power requirements. Divert everything to the quantum core, Sarah ordered. We only need to hold it long enough for the singularity to stabilize. Space itself seemed to bend and twist around their combined efforts. The Hyperion's hull groaned under the strain as it channeled more power into the phase shift lattice, amplifying the alien containment field to unprecedented levels. Singularity expansion rate decreasing, Santos called out. The fractures are beginning to seal. For 3 tense hours, the combined fleet held their position, their technologies working in harmony to contain a force that neither could have managed alone. When it was over, the singularity had been reduced to a manageable size, its threat neutralized by the unprecedented cooperation between human and alien engineering. Well, Sarah said, looking at the assembled alien and human crew on her bridge, I'd say that's a pretty definitive proof of concept for our joint research initiative. Axthel's crystalline form resonated with what she now recognized as laughter. Indeed, we sought to contain your unconventional methods within our protocols. Instead, you've shown us how to break free of our limitations without abandoning our foundations. Valsha and Rodriguez were already deep in discussion, comparing readings from the event, their excitement palpable as they discovered new possibilities in their combined data. This is just the beginning, Sarah said, watching their teams work together. Think of what we could achieve by combining your experience with our innovation. The problems we could solve, the discoveries we could make, the impossible we could make possible, Axthel suggested. Sarah smiled. Exactly. After all, that's what humans do best. Show that impossible is just another word for something no one's tried the right way yet. As the joint fleet regrouped for their return journey, the stabilized singularity pulsed quietly behind them, a testament to what could be achieved when different paths to understanding the universe worked in harmony. Humanity had earned its place among the stars not by following the established route, but by blazing their own trail. And in doing so, they had shown their new allies that sometimes the best way forward was to question everything they thought they knew about what was possible. The Hyperion led the fleet home, its quantum field intersecting with alien energy patterns to create new and beautiful distortions in space-time, a visible symbol of how different approaches to understanding the universe could combine to create something greater than the sum of their parts.